The Bible tells a story that feels ancient, but it's happening to you right now. Jacob worked 7 years for Rachel, and then another 7, because his soul already knew what his life was missing. And the verse that sets today's message on fire is this: love is patient, love is kind. Now listen closely. Your soulmate is sending a shocking message, and it's all because of your last move. Not because you begged, not because you chased, not because you posted a quote, because you did something most people never do. And before we go deeper, hit subscribe right now, like this video, and comment, "I'm ready," if you can feel something shifting. Because later in this video, I'm going to tell you the one sentence your soulmate is about to say that will either heal everything or expose everything. And I'm warning you, it's not the sentence you think it is. Let's get straight into it. It wasn't just a decision. It wasn't just you taking space. It wasn't just you staying quiet. It wasn't just you walking away. It wasn't just you choosing yourself. Spiritually, your last move was a signal. Psychologically, your last move was a boundary. And emotionally, your last move was a mirror. And when you make a move like that, you don't just change your life. You change how people feel around you. You change how they think about you when they're alone. You change what they can no longer ignore. This is why the message is coming, because your soulmate felt the shift. Even if they don't understand it, even if they can't explain it, even if they pretend they don't care, they felt it. Let me tell you what most people don't know about soulmates. A soulmate is not just someone you like. A soulmate is someone who triggers your transformation. They activate your deepest wounds and your highest calling at the same time. That's why soulmate connections feel confusing. One moment it feels like peace. The next moment it feels like war. One moment you feel chosen. The next moment you feel abandoned. One moment you feel seen. The next moment you feel invisible. And the reason is simple. Soulmates don't just connect to your personality. They connect to your soul. And the soul doesn't speak in comfort. It speaks in truth. So what was your last move? Your last move was you finally pulling your energy back. You stopped feeding the connection with your anxiety. You stopped proving your worth. You stopped explaining your heart to someone who is committed to misunderstanding you. You stopped doing the emotional labor for two people. And when you stopped, something happened inside them. Here's the psychology. When someone gets used to your presence, they stop appreciating your value. Not because they're evil, because the human brain adapts. It's called emotional habituation. It means the brain stops responding to what it expects. Your love became expected. Your effort became expected. Your forgiveness became expected. Your patience became expected. So they stopped treating it like a miracle. But then, you made your last move. You disrupted the pattern. You broke the addiction. You changed the reward system. And the brain hates that. The brain goes into panic. The nervous system starts searching. Their mind starts replaying memories. Their body starts missing your energy. And that's when the message starts forming. Now let me tell you something spiritual. When you stop chasing, you stop interfering. And when you stop interfering, God can finally move. Because some of you are praying for a soulmate message while also blocking it. Not with your hands, with your fear. You would be afraid if you stopped chasing. You would lose them forever. But what you didn't realize is this. If someone is truly yours, your peace will not push them away. Your boundaries will not destroy it. Your self-respect will not scare them off. Only the wrong person runs from your healing. So your last move exposed the truth, and the truth always demands a response. That's why the message is shocking, because this message is not casual. It's not hey, it's not what's up, it's not how have you been. No, this message is going to carry weight. It's going to carry emotion. It's going to carry a confession. It's going to carry regret. And the reason it will shock you is because it will reveal what they were hiding. Now stay with me, because I need to tell you the 3 main reasons your soulmate is about to reach out. And when you hear the third one, you're going to realize why the silence happened in the first place. Reason number 1. They realized you were not replaceable. Let me say that again. They realized you are not replaceable. They thought they could find another you. They thought they could find someone else with your heart, your loyalty, your depth, your patience, your spiritual sensitivity, your ability to love even when you were hurting. But now, reality has humbled them, because they tried to talk to other people, and it felt empty. They tried to flirt, and it felt forced. They tried to distract themselves, and it didn't work. Because a soulmate bond is not entertainment. It's not a vibe. It's not a moment. It's a calling. And once you meet someone who touches your soul, you can't unmeet them. You can ignore it, you can delay it, can run from it, but you can't erase it. So the message comes, because the fantasy of replacing you died. Reason number 2, they felt you emotionally detached. This is the part that sounds crazy, but it's real. Soulmates can feel each other's energy, not always clearly, not always logically, but spiritually. They sense when the chord changes. Your last move wasn't just a boundary, it was a detachment.
You stopped checking. You stopped hoping.
You stopped waiting. You stopped building your day around their potential. And that energy shift hit them like a cold wind. Because even if they were acting distant, they still felt safe knowing you were there. Let me explain. Some people don't want you. They want access to you. They want the option. They want safety. They want an ego boost. They want to know you're still available. But when you made your last move, you removed the option. And suddenly, their ego started bleeding. Their hearts started waking up. Their minds started spiraling. That's why the message will sound urgent, because they're not just missing you. They're missing the version of themselves that felt powerful when you were still waiting. And when that power disappears, they reach out. Reason number 3, God started shaking their life. Yes, God. God. Some of you don't understand this yet, but the silence was not just emotional. It was spiritual. Because some soulmate connections are delayed until both people are ready. And when one person starts healing first, God starts dealing with the other one. Your last move was obedience. It was you saying, I will not abandon myself anymore. I will not beg for love anymore. I will not chase what God has to. Align. And when you did that, God turned the pressure on them. Things started falling apart in their life. Their distractions stopped working. Their fake connections started exposing themselves. Their sleep started getting weird. Their mood started changing. Their peace started leaving. And that's when they start thinking about you. Not as a fantasy, not as a maybe, but as a divine assignment they tried to ignore. And that's why the message is coming. Now I need you to hear this next part carefully, because not every soulmate message is a blessing. Some messages are tests, and this is where most people fail. They get the message, they get excited, they get emotional, they start romanticizing, they start imagining weddings, they start rewriting the past, they start forgetting the pain, and then they walk right back into the same cycle, weak, because they're human. But your last move was not random. It was the beginning of your upgrade. So the message is coming to see if you're still the old you, or if you became the new you. And that's why it's shocking, because it's going to sound like what you always wanted, but it's going to require what you never practiced. Discernment. Let me give you the psychology of this. When someone senses they're losing you, they often send a message that's emotionally intense. Not because they've changed, but because they're afraid. Fear can sound like love. Urgency can sound like devotion. Regret can sound like commitment. Apologies can sound like transformation. But words do not change. Words are a door. Change is walking through it. So when your soulmate messages you, don't just listen to what they say. Listen to what they do after they say it. What the message will likely include. And I want you to stay open, because this part is going to feel personal. The shocking message will include one of these three tones. Tone number 1, a confession. They will say something like, "I've been thinking about you. I miss you. I can't stop replaying this. I didn't realize what I had." And the shocking part is, they will sound softer than you've ever heard them, because your absence humbled them. Tone number 2, a spiritual awakening. They will say something like, "I don't know why, but I keep feeling pulled to you. I had a dream about you. I keep seeing your name. I feel like God is telling me something." And you're going to sit there like, "Wait, you're saying this?" Yes, because when God wants to bring someone back to alignment, he doesn't just talk to the person who prays, he talks to the person who runs. Tone number 3, a confrontation, and this is the one most people don't expect. They will say something like, "Why did you disappear? Why didn't you fight for this? So you're just done? I guess you never cared." And you'll be shocked because they're acting like the victim. But listen to me. This is a test. Because some people only feel safe with you when you're the one suffering. They don't know how to love you when you're empowered. So they try to pull you back into guilt. They try to pull you back into explaining. They try to pull you back into proving. But you can't pass a test by returning to an old version of yourself. Now let's go deeper. Why is this message connected to your last move? Because your last move was a spiritual boundary. And boundaries do something powerful. They reveal intention. When you stop giving unlimited access, you force people to decide. And decision is the language of destiny. Your soulmate is being forced to decide. Not do I like you, not do I miss you, but am I willing to show up as the person this connection requires? And that's terrifying for them. Because soulmate love is not lazy. Soulmate love is not convenient. Soulmate love is not half effort. Soulmate love demands maturity, and that's why they ran, because they weren't ready. But now, you moved, and the connection is calling them back. Now I want to speak to the person watching this who feels confused, because you're saying, "But if they're my soulmate, why did it hurt so much?" Let me tell you the truth. Soulmates don't always come to love you first. They come to wake you up. Sometimes they come to show you what you tolerate. Sometimes they come to show you where you abandon yourself. Sometimes they come to show you your attachment wounds. Sometimes they come to show you the difference between love and longing. And you needed that lesson because you were too loyal to the wrong version of the story. You were too committed to potential. You were too patient with inconsistency. You were too forgiving with disrespect. And God had to shake you. That's why your last move was powerful. Because it wasn't revenge, it wasn't manipulation, it was wisdom. It was you saying, "I will not trade my peace for a connection." And when you did that, you activated the message. Now here comes the mini cliffhanger I promised earlier, because I told you there's one sentence your soulmate is about to say that will either heal everything or expose everything. And this is the sentence, "I'm ready." But listen carefully. It won't always sound like "I'm ready." Sometimes it sounds like, "Can we talk? I want to see you. I want to make things right." I want to try again. I want to do this properly. But the energy behind it is the same. I'm ready. And your soul will feel it. But here's the twist. Some people say I'm ready when they're actually lonely. Some people say I'm ready when they're actually bored. Some people say I'm ready when they're actually losing control. So you need discernment. And discernment is not suspicion, it's wisdom. Now I want to give you the signs that this message is real. And I'm going to be blunt. If the message is real, it will include accountability. Not excuses. Not I was busy. Not I was going through stuff. Not I didn't know what I wanted. Accountability sounds like, I hurt you. I was inconsistent. I didn't show up. I took you for granted. I was afraid. If you don't hear accountability, you're not hearing love. You're hearing access. If the message is real, it will include clarity. Not confusion. Not mixed signals. Not hot and cold. Not let's see. Clarity sounds like, I want you. I choose you. I'm here. If the message is real, it will include effort. Not just words. Not just feelings. Not just nostalgia. Effort looks like consistency. Effort looks like planning. Effort looks like showing up. Effort looks like action. Now, I need to say something that might sting, but it will free you. Some of you are not waiting for a message. You're waiting for permission. Permission to move on. Permission to stop hoping. Replaying. Permission to stop checking. And you don't need permission, because your last move already answered the question. Your last move was your soul choosing life. And that's why the message is coming. Not to complete you, but to meet you. Because you are not being saved by a soulmate. You are being aligned with one. And alignment requires standards. Now let me speak to you spiritually for a moment. God does not send soulmates to destroy you. But God will allow a soulmate connection to expose what needs healing. Because God cares more about your growth than your comfort. And your last move was growth. So yes, the message is coming, but not because you finally became good enough. You were always good enough. The message is coming because you finally stopped abandoning yourself. And that energy is magnetic. It's holy. Powerful. Now I want you to do something right now. Before you finish this video, take a breath and ask yourself one question. If they message me today, am I ready to respond from my healed self or my hungry self? Because the hungry self will accept crumbs. The healed self will require bread. And I'm not talking about being cold, I'm talking about being wise. You can love someone and still require effort. You can miss someone and still require respect. You can forgive someone and still require change. That's maturity. Now here's what's going to happen next, and I want you to remember this when it does. When the message comes, it will feel like a shock, because it will arrive at a moment you weren't looking. It might happen when you're at peace, it might happen when you're laughing, it might happen when you're finally moving forward. You're focused on yourself. Because that's when it's most powerful. That's when you're not desperate. That's when you're not begging. That's when you're not vibrating in lack. That's when you're aligned. And when you're aligned, you attract truth. So if you receive the message, don't panic. Don't overthink. Don't rush. Pause, pray, breathe, and respond like someone who knows their worth. Because your last move was not the end. It was the beginning. And I'll leave you with this. Some people don't realize your value until you stop giving it away. And some soulmates don't rise until you stop lowering yourself. So yes, your soulmate is sending a shocking message, and it's all because of your last move. If this message hit you, subscribe right now, like this video, and comment "I will not settle" so I know you're serious about your journey. Destiny. Because the next chapter of your love story is not going to be written by fear. It's going to be written by God. And before you scroll, I want you to do something for me. Type in the comments, "I chose myself." Because that one sentence is exactly why the message is coming. Here's another Bible line that matches this moment perfectly. Wherever you go, I will go. Now listen, some of you are going to get this message in a way that doesn't even look like a message. It might be random, like on an old post. It might be them watching your story the second you upload it. It might be them asking a mutual friend about you. It might be them accidentally calling and hanging up. It might be them sending something small, just to test if you still answer. And I need you to catch this, because the shocking part is not just what they say. The shocking part is that they can't hold back anymore. Your last move did something to their mind, because you stopped being predictable. And when you stop being predictable, you stop being controllable. That's why they're coming back. Because you were never just a person to them. You were a place they felt safe, even when they didn't treat you safely. And now, that place is gone, or at least it's no longer open without permission. So let me tell you what's happening behind the scenes, because I want you to understand the energy. They are replaying your last conversation. They are replaying your last text. They are replaying the moment you stopped trying. They are replaying the moment you didn't react. They are replaying the moment you didn't chase. And it's haunting them, because your silence was loud. Your distance was loud. Your peace was loud. And for the first time, they're hearing you without you speaking. Now comment on this if you know what I'm talking about. Comment, my silence spoke, because it did, and it reached them. Now let's get real. This soulmate message is going to trigger you. Not because it's bad, but because it touches a part of you that still remembers the old pain. So you might feel excited, then angry, then hope, then I was scared, then soft, then guarded. That emotional roller coaster is normal. That's your nervous system trying to protect you from reopening a wound. And this is where you need to be powerful. You don't need to punish them, but you also don't need to reward them too quickly. Because if they truly want you, they will respect your pace. If they truly want you, they will honor your healing. If they truly want you, they will not rush you into a cycle again. Now type this in the comments if you're ready for mature love. Comment, I need consistency. Yes, consistency. Not chemistry, not potential, not intensity, consistency. Because chemistry can be fake, potential can be fantasy, intensity can be trauma. But consistency is character. Now here's something nobody wants to admit. Sometimes the soulmate message comes after you finally let go, and that's the part that feels unfair. You're like, where were you when I cried? Where were you when I begged in my heart? Where were you when I needed clarity? Where were you when I was loyal? And now you want to show up? Now? And that anger is valid. It's not bitter. It's your self-respect waking up. So if you feel that, comment, I'm protecting my heart. Because that's not a weakness, that's wisdom. Might shock you even more. Some soulmate messages are not a return. They're a closure. Yes, closure. Sometimes God allows the message not to restart the relationship, but to release you from the emotional chain. Because some of you still feel tied. You still feel unfinished. You still feel like there's a missing sentence. You still feel like you need an explanation. And the message comes to finally reveal the truth. And the truth might be, I was afraid of how much I felt. I didn't know how to love you properly. I wasn't ready. I sabotaged it. And you'll read it and realize it wasn't that you weren't enough. It was that they weren't aligned. And that realization will heal you. So either way, the message is a blessing because it gives you clarity. And clarity is the gift. Now listen carefully, because this next part is for the person who keeps seeing signs. If you've seen their name, if you've been seeing repeating numbers, if you've been dreaming about them, if you've been feeling random waves of emotion, if you've been thinking about them out of nowhere, that's not you being crazy. That's a spiritual signal. It means the connection is active. It means the energy is moving. It means something is shifting. But here's the danger. Don't confuse signs with permission. Signs are not instructions. Signs are confirmations. They confirm that something is happening, but they do not tell you to chase. Your last move worked. Don't ruin it by going backwards. If you agree with that, comment, "I will not chase." Now I want you to imagine this. Your soulmate is staring at their phone, typing, deleting, typing again, deleting again, because they don't know what version of you they'll get. No, if you're still soft. They don't know if you're still open. They don't know if you're still waiting. And the truth is, you are soft. But you're not stupid. You are open, but you're not available for disrespect. You are loving, but you are not desperate. That's what changed. So when the message comes, it's going to feel like the universe blinked. Because it's like, wow. So you can speak. So you do feel. So you were watching. So you did care. And that's why it's shocking. Now let's talk about what you should do when you receive it. Because this part matters. When you see the message, don't respond instantly. Not to play games, not to manipulate, but to breathe. Because instant responses come from the old you, the anxious you, the please choose me you. But delayed, calm responses come from the healed you, am already chosen by God you. And that version of you is unstoppable. Now comment this if you're stepping into that energy. Comment, "I'm grounded." Yes, grounded. Now here's the part that will change your life. The soulmate message is not just about love. It's about identity. Because you are not the same person you were before. You are not the person who tolerated confusion. You are not the person who begged for crumbs. You are not the person who waited in silence. You are not the person who accepted half love. Your last move was a rebirth, and your soulmate felt that. They felt that you became dangerous. Not dangerous in a toxic way, dangerous in a holy way. Because when you heal, you stop being easy to manipulate. When you heal, you stop being easy to keep in limbo. When you heal, you stop being easy to access without effort. And that's why the message is coming. Now I want to speak to the person who is afraid to open the message. Yes, some of you are going to see the notification and your stomach will drop. Because part of you still remembers the pain. Part of you still remembers the disappointment. Part of you still remembers the waiting. But listen to me. You are not that person anymore. You can read the message now without losing yourself. Because you found yourself. And if you found yourself, you cannot be lost again. So if that's you, comment, "I won't lose myself again." Now, let me end with something powerful. Your soulmate is not coming back because you begged. They're coming back because you stopped. They're coming back because you chose peace. They're coming back because you chose God over attachment. They're coming back because you chose self-respect over fantasy. Decision made you magnetic. So when the message arrives, don't treat it like your salvation. Treat it like information. Information about their maturity. Information about their intention, information about their readiness, and then make your next move. Not from fear, not from lack, not from loneliness, but from wisdom, from discernment, from God. And if you made it to the end of this video, comment, "I'm ready for real love," subscribe, like, and share this with someone who needs to hear it. Because the message is closer than you think, and when it comes, you will be ready. And I need you to stay with me a little longer, because the next part is where most people fumble the blessing. Here's the Bible line that fits what's about to happen. Be still and know that I am God. Because the moment that message comes in, your emotions are going to want to move faster than your wisdom. Your heart is going to race. Your hands might shake. Your mind will start writing stories. Your chest will feel tight. And suddenly, you'll be tempted to respond from the version of you that used to panic. But listen, the whole reason God allowed distance was to teach you stillness. And if you can master stillness, you can master any connection. Now comment this right now if you're with me. Comment, "I will be still." Because this is not the season to react. This is the season to observe. Now let's get extremely real. Some of you are going to get a message that sounds spiritual, but it's actually selfish. It will sound like, "I feel like we're meant to be. I feel like God keeps bringing you back to my mind. I feel like we have a soul connection." And you're going to melt. But here's what you need to ask yourself. Using spirituality to avoid responsibility. Because anyone can say we're meant to be. But only the mature person says, "I'm willing to do the work." So I want you to comment something bold. Comment, "Show me effort." Yes, show me effort. Because effort is the evidence. Now I want to tell you something about soulmates that most people don't understand. Your soulmate is not always the person who comes in with perfect timing. Sometimes your soulmate comes in with perfect lessons, and you needed this lesson, not because you were wrong for loving, but because you were loving without protection. You were pouring into a cup that wasn't pouring back. You were watering a garden where only you were planting, and God was watching, not judging you, but preparing you. Because God doesn't just give you love, God trains you for love. Comes. It's not just about, are they back? It's about, are you upgraded enough to handle them now? And that question is where your power is. Now comment this if you're in your upgrade season. Comment, "I leveled up," because you did. Even if it was painful, even if you cried, even if you doubted, even if you missed them, you still leveled up. Now let's talk about what the shocking message might reveal. Because some of you think it's going to be romantic, and it might be, but for many of you, the shock will be the truth. The shock will be them admitting, "I was jealous. I was insecure. I didn't feel good enough. I didn't know how to keep you. I thought you would always be there. I was scared you were too good for me." And you'll sit